I've lived in the same quiet suburban neighborhood for 12 years. I bought my home with a simple dream. A peaceful life, a garden, a porch swing, and an American flag that flew proudly from the day we moved in. My parents had both served, and flying that flag wasn't decoration to me, it was pride, family, and history. For more than a decade, nobody complained. Not once. Then a new HOA president moved in. Her name was Karen Whitlock, and she treated the HOA like it was her personal kingdom. She reorganized the board, rewrote minor rules to feel more official, and within a month had managed to annoy nearly everyone on the block. But the worst part, Karen was obsessed with visual uniformity. She wanted the neighborhood to look like a brochure picture, sterile, identical, boring. And she absolutely hated my American flag. Chapter 1. The first warning. It started with a note taped to my door. Greater than notice of violation. Unauthorized exterior ornamentation. Remove the American flag within 72 hours to avoid fines. I actually laughed because I thought the note was meant for someone else. My house wasn't exactly an ornament museum. Just the flag. A flag protected under multiple state and federal laws. I snapped a picture of it and sent it to my husband, Michael, who was away on assignment. He's a federal agent, Homeland Security, stationed abroad often, but home frequently enough that everyone knows him. Well, everyone except the new HOA president, apparently. He replied, greater than, they can't do that. Leave the flag, I'll handle it when I get home. Simple enough. I tossed the violation into the recycling and went on with my day. But Karen wasn't done. Chapter 2. The Doorstep Confrontation. 2 days later, I opened my door and almost walked straight into Karen's clipboard. Glad you're home, she snapped. You're in violation. The flag hasn't been removed. I blinked. It's a flag. It's visual pollution, Karen corrected. And the HOA bylaws state. No, I interrupted, federal law states otherwise. You can't ban a national flag. Her eyebrows raised like she'd just been challenged to a duel. We'll see about that, she hissed, and stormed off. Over the next week she issued 2 more violation notices, a $50 fine, a friendly reminder, email written in the most unfriendly tone imaginable. A letter claiming the flag was too large. It was a standard size. She was just fishing for excuses. When I refused to pay the fine, she escalated again. Chapter 3. The Midnight Attempt. It was 11:47 p.m. I heard footsteps on the porch. At first I thought it was a raccoon or some kid messing around. But then I heard metal clinking, the sound of someone unscrewing something. I looked out the window and froze. Karen was on my porch taking down the flagpole bracket. She was literally removing it from the house with a cordless drill. I swung open the door. Excuse me, she nearly dropped her drill. You didn't remove it, so the HOA is taking action, she said, trying to regain her composure. You've been warned. Are you insane? I shouted. You can't do that. I can and I will. The board has approved this. You're destroying neighborhood aesthetics. Karen, that flag is protected. This is illegal. She stood straighter, smug. No, what's illegal is you ignoring an HOA directive. I grabbed my phone to call the sheriff, but Karen panicked, fumbled with her drill, and scuttled down my porch like a guilty possum. The flag bracket now hung halfway out of the wall, damaged, but still attached. That was the moment I decided. Enough. My husband needed to come home. Chapter 4. The federal agent returns. Michael got home the next evening, exhausted but alert. When I showed him the damage, he didn't get angry, he got quiet. Which was worse. He spent an hour reading the notices, the fines, the emails, and the HOA's revised bylaws. Then he said, okay, let's do this by the book. He put on his work bag, grabbed a folder, and walked straight to the HOA office, the little community room turned dictatorship headquarters across from the pool. I tagged along, eager to see the show. Karen and her 2 sidekick board members were inside, having what looked like a very intense meeting about dog poop. When Michael walked in wearing his federal ID badge clipped to his shirt, all 3 froze. Karen looked him up and down. This is a private meeting. Michael remained perfectly calm. I'm here about the unauthorized attempt to remove the American flag from my property. Karen didn't flinch. We warned your wife. She wouldn't comply. Michael placed a printed packet on the table. Inside was the Freedom to Display the American Flag Act. Several HOA lawsuits where boards had been fined heavily. A summary of penalties for interfering with federal symbols. Security camera stills of Karen removing the bracket. Her face turned pale, then red, then pale again. Where did you get these? She stammered. Our home security system, Michael said. Your midnight removal attempt is recorded. That's breaking and entering, property destruction, and attempted theft of federal property. Federal, Karen squeaked. Michael nodded. Yes, anything involving an American flag falls under federal jurisdiction. Her two board members slid several inches away from her, as if whatever disease she had might spread. I'm not pressing charges, Michael continued, yet. But we will be filing a formal complaint with the State HOA Regulatory Office unless you reverse the violations and repair the damage you caused. Karen opened and closed her mouth like a confused goldfish. Michael wasn't done. One more thing, he said. From this moment forward, any communication to my wife must go through me. He handed her his agency email. She didn't say a word. Just nodded shakily. We left with the silence of victory behind us. Chapter 5. The HOA Meltdown. The next morning, I received the most embarrassed email I've ever seen. Greater than dear resident, after reviewing updated guidelines, the HOA will no longer regulate American flags. All previous violations are rescinded. We apologize for any confusion. HOA Board. Confusion. Yeah, right, but Karen's nightmare wasn't over. Once the security footage made its way around the neighborhood Facebook group, because of course it did, people were furious. Turns out Karen had tried removing a veteran's POW MIA flag, a small memorial flag placed for a deceased Marine, a 4th of July decorative banner, a seasonal welcome sign with an eagle on it claiming, too patriotic. Suddenly, everyone she'd bullied over the months had proof she wasn't enforcing rules, she was enforcing her ego. At the next HOA meeting, the room was so packed people had to stand. Neighbors shouted, "You trespassed on her property. You touched a federal flag. You're an embarrassment. You're abusing your authority." Karen tried to defend herself, but the board members, who had happily supported her before, threw her under the bus. Ultimately, the community voted. Karen was removed as HOA president. Permanently. Her reign lasted 3 months. Chapter 6. The final straw for Karen. After her removal, Karen did what all Karens do. She tried to retaliate. She started reporting people for minor violations. Leaving a trash bin out for 4 extra minutes. Having mismatched garden gnomes. Painting a door off-white instead of eggshell white. Parking a guest car slightly crooked. But nobody listened. Her power was gone. The new HOA president, a retired Air Force colonel, sent her an official cease and desist letter. He also informed her that security footage of her flag stunt had been shared with the state HOA authority as part of a broader misconduct investigation. When she received that letter, she packed up her yard flamingos, ripped out her HOA president parking sign, and moved out 2 months later. The neighborhood threw a barbecue the day her house listed. We flew the American flag twice as high. Chapter 7. Rebuilding the neighborhood. After all the chaos, the HOA actually improved. The new board rewrote the bylaws to protect holiday decorations, garden flags, memorial banners, seasonal items, patriotic displays, and the best part, they permanently added a line. Greater than no HOA officer shall attempt to regulate, restrict, or remove the American flag on any property within this community. Residents called it Karen's Law. Michael laughed when he read it. We repaired the flag bracket, repainted the porch, and installed a new, sturdier flag pole, one that can withstand hurricanes, storms, and overzealous HOA presidents. Every morning, I walk out onto the porch with a cup of tea and look at that flag waving proudly. Peace has returned to the neighborhood. And I'll never forget how close we came to losing something meaningful, all because someone craved control. But if there's one thing that Karen learned that night on my porch, one thing she'll never forget, it's this. If you try to take down a symbol of freedom, you'll eventually meet someone who protects it for a living. And unfortunately for her, that someone was my husband. A federal agent.